Welcome back to Around the Kitchen Table. My name's Rochelle. I'm a certified herbalist and the owner and founder of HappiHerbs. Today, we are going to be talking about parasites, and I am here with a very special guest, April. She is a registered nurse and currently in school getting her master's. She's also my bestie, and we've known each other for, how many years has it been?
Maybe 13?
No, 14.
14 years.
It was 14 because I met you right before I met my husband, Mitchell. So
Oh, wow.
it was like a year before that. So 14 years.
Crazy.
We met we were both on a first date.
Mhm.
And we met because the two guys were friends.
Yep.
And we met and we never went on a second date with the guys.
No, we ditched them and we've been together ever since.
Pretty much. We've been through many seasons together. I will say we went from bottle service to Bible studies.
Literally.
I might be a little bit more hardcore, but motherhood will do that.
Yeah, mellows you out a little bit.
But yeah, we have seen many different seasons of each other, from even just like bad eating to taking our health more seriously,
Late nights, early mornings.
all of it. So it's been interesting and fun, like being friends with someone long enough to see like the growth and,
Yes.
the transitions that we've made that are
Yes.
positive. And I'm glad that we're still friends.
We made it through it all.
We made it through a lot. So anyways, I wanted to start this podcast with just giving you guys a little bit of a story in regards to parasites, because I find this is such a big topic, especially right now. I know that, in my work, I have been seeing such an uproar of parasitic infections, especially in children recently. It's very strange, more than normal. I think there are many reasons for that, and I wouldn't be surprised if food, water, lack of sun, that's a huge one.
Mhm.
But regardless, it has been really bad recently. And I find for myself, in my first podcast, when I talk about pretty much my health journey and the struggles that I had, I didn't get into too much detail on exactly what I did because there were so many different things that I did along that journey. And obviously it starts with, eating well, drinking well, sleeping well, being connected to the earth. Like there's all these changes that I made. But one of the biggest things that really changed my life, honestly, my health, was parasite cleansing. Huge, absolutely huge. Because like my journey, and I healed from a lot, but there was this part where I had this there was 10%. I was still very sensitive. I would get like that tingling in the hands and the knees. It was really weird. It wouldn't always happen, but when I ate certain foods, it would happen. It was just this sensitivity that I had to work really hard to get rid of, and homeopathy played a huge role. But once I discovered how to parasite cleanse, and I did it on and off for a year, everything went away. I was converted after that. I was like, oh my gosh, everything went away. It's like everything was a dream, insane. And then even with my son, at about 3 or 4 months old, he had really bad eczema. It was all over his body. It was really bad. And I think as a first-time parent, I was a little too relaxed. I'm like, yeah, let him eat the dirt. Let him put the sticks in his mouth. Let him, because if you have a strong immune system, you're usually going to be fine. But I honestly think that contributed to him having eczema, because there's a specific parasite, and we'll get into that, that comes from the dirt, also from animals. And I do believe that's how he got it. And so he had really bad eczema, and I tried everything. And then when I introduced specific homeopathic remedies for parasite cleansing as well as herbs, completely healed. And he was good for 2 years, never happened. And then there was this one day, the water play tables that the kids play in? It had rained, and, there was some stagnant water in there. And he went outside and he stuck his face in it and drank the water. And I was like,
As kids do.
Oh my gosh. I knew right away. I was like, no. Not only like 2 days later, he broke out in bumps all over his body, and I knew he has a parasite from that water. And so all the symptoms came back that he originally had, and I immediately did a parasite cleanse. And one of the days when I was wiping his bum after he went to the bathroom, I pulled out a tapeworm.
Ooh.
I know.
Ooh.
I know. I was like, what is that? And it was coming out. And I was like, yo, that's a tapeworm. Okay. We're doing good at least.
Yeah, they gave you confirmation that, hey, you were correct in what you were thinking.
Right. And then so we did the cleanse. It took some time and then gone. Never came back again. So scary stuff. It's cringeworthy. I think a lot of people think, oh, like you're an herbalist or you're a nurse, so you just have like a strong stomach to this stuff. And it's like, listen, guys, I'm just as disgusted as you are.
Yeah, there's some things that never, you never get the stomach for it. It still kind of gives you the heebies.
Right? It's disgusting. And so as I was saying, I think that the core of good health, which we were talking about, really is, it starts with clean water. Mm-hmm. Clean water, clean food, clean air, and we need the sun. And I think a lot of people miss that, and they just want to skip that part and take an herb or take something and feel good. And it really starts at home. What water are you drinking? Make sure your water is clean. And even if your water is clean, there's no parasites in it because they're putting chemicals in it. Still not the greatest for your body. It's still going to throw off your gut biome if you're drinking tap water. Unfortunately, if you're drinking water with like a ton of microplastics, all of those things, like it contributes to your overall health. It can throw everything off. And when everything is thrown off and when you're weak, that's a breeding ground for parasites. So drink clean water. Make sure you have a good water purifier, right? I think a lot of people have RO, and I think we have to remember that that's empty water. And so we need to be really mindful that we're not drinking empty water because it's lacking minerals and the vitamins that we need, and we can become depleted.
Yeah, you have to balance it out. You have to add your minerals back in, basically.
Exactly. So, I mean, we use Berkey. We love Berkey.
Yes.
Other than that, spring water, that is your friend. And then food, you want to be eating lots of whole foods, healthy foods, right? If you can get organic, get organic. If you can't afford it, get what you can get, right?
Yeah, if you can grow it, even better.
Exactly. And clean air, I understand that not everyone has money to buy like an expensive air purifier. You can find cheaper ones on the market, but you want to be breathing in clean air, especially in this day and age. We have a lot of air pollution. It's really bad.
We do, especially living in Hamilton.
Exactly. And I think a lot of people, they don't think about like, oh, air pollution and parasites because, it's not that air pollution causes parasites, but if we're breathing in bad air, if we're eating bad food, like I said, if we're drinking bad water, you're going to weaken your immune system, you're going to weaken your body, and then that invites a breeding ground for parasites because your body isn't strong enough to fight it off. And the sun, get out in the sun, ground. We need to be energized by the earth. It's healing, and you don't want to be like, for example, I always say when it's winter or even spring, that can be a time where people get a lot of parasites because it's a damp, wet environment. Spring, it rains a lot. Winter, you have all of this snow. It's cold. It's damp. We don't have a lot of sun. One example that I always use is if you get a towel and it's wet and you hang it outside in the winter, what's going to happen to it, right? Or you hang it outside in like the spring and what's going to happen to it? It's probably going to get some mold, it's going to get kind of gross. And it's the same with us where we are full of water. And so you want to make sure that you are in environments where you are getting the sun and, you're helping yourself. And to throw it out there, if you have issues with dampness in your home or you live in a country that's really damp, a really good homeopathic remedy that helps with that is called natrum sulfuricum. Some people respond like more negatively than others to damp weather. I know my grandmother was like that. She lived in England and actually had to move back to Jamaica because she was getting sick and dying. And no doctor could help her. And she found this one doctor and they're like, you need to leave this country. It's too damp for you and it's killing you. And now, that I know now, I'm like, it's probably parasites, right? Causing diseases because of that weather. And some people can handle it more than others. So if you have a problem with that damp, cold weather, if you start getting knee pain and kind of like arthritic pain, then you want to take natrum sulfuricum in a 30C. That's really helpful. So anyways, back to eczema. So when it comes to eczema, there's a specific parasite that it usually comes from the dirt and from animals. And so if you are someone or you have a child that is suffering with eczema, it's always good to, check your animals and make sure that you're cleansing them as well. Because if you're just cleansing yourself or your child, but you're not cleansing the entire family, they can just reinfect them, right? And if your kid is like out there eating the dirt and doing wild stuff, try and just, refrain from them if they have if they're susceptible, because some people, they have really strong immune systems and they can do that same thing and their body just cycles it out. But some people, they have a weakness. Everyone is born with a specific weakness, and you gotta try and heal in that way. You gotta try and become stronger. And so always parasite cleanse with the entire family, including the animals, so that you don't reinfect someone, because you could be fine and be like, well, I'm fine, I don't need to parasite cleanse. But again, you could be cycling them out. We're all exposed to parasites every single day. Some we can cycle out, some people struggle, with specific ones. So I think that's really important. So if you have eczema, parasite cleanse, right? You can parasite cleanse. There are so many different herbs that you can take that we will get into, as well as homeopathy. So do you have anything to say on that in regards to animals? And
I was just gonna maybe add the same thing. Well, not the same thing, but just adding on to that sometimes the eczema reaction can be because not just the parasite, but also when your body tries to kill any of the parasites, they release toxins into your system. And 100%. Those toxins can cause your skin to flare up. And 100%. I experienced that myself when I was going through a parasite cleanse. With the parasite, I was having other symptoms. My skin was fine. But once they started dying, my skin completely flared up too. So you can also have that as a reaction related to parasites and eczema.
Yeah, and we're going to get into that in regards to ammonia. I see that a lot with my customers who do parasite cleansing and they are sensitive people or they have skin problems. They usually flare up, and I'll tell them, like, if you do, it's okay, because it's good for your body to express. It's like your skin is pooping, it's trying to detox it out, and people get scared and they're like, oh my gosh, like put something on it to make it go away. And no, allow your skin.
Want it to come out. It actually means it's working. It's kind of a good sign.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. Now, I study the work of Dr. Clark. I love her. Her work is amazing. She has healed so many people. And so the herbs that I use in my parasite cleanse is wormwood, green black walnut hull, and cloves. That's what she suggests. That's what I've done for myself, for my family. That's how I make my parasite cleanse, because cloves, they kill the eggs. Green black walnut hull kills the adults, and wormwood kills the larva. So you need to make sure that you're using herbs that are going to kill the entire cycle, because if you just kill the adults, and the larva is going to grow into adults, and the eggs are going to grow into larva, and vice versa, like the whole thing is just going to keep happening. You're just going to maintain it. You're not actually going to kill them. And so you always want to make sure you're doing all those 3 herbs together. If you are a young child, I don't suggest taking wormwood. And for my child's parasite cleanse, I keep the cloves and I keep the green black walnut hull. That is fine for children. I find that they respond a lot easier to herbs because they are so young and they have such a strong vital force. But for adults, we need that wormwood. It's disgusting, but we need it. Even the Bible talks about it. It's so bitter. Or there's one verse and it's like, talking about don't be seduced by a woman. It's like her lips are like honey, but then you kiss her and it's as bitter as wormwood. They hate wormwood. I always say, I'm like, yeah, if you're doing a parasite cleanse, you're casting out devils, because honestly, parasites are like demonic. Like, and I hate to sound extreme, but it's so disgusting. I'm just like, when you see those things up close, you are like, what? God did not create that. I'm sorry.
And that's just straight the ones you can see. So imagine all the ones you can't see, how ugly they are too when you start looking in a microscope at them.
Oh, it's terrifying. Like, there's some points where when I'm studying it, I'm like covering the screen and just reading the information, because I'm like, Oh my gosh, like I can't. But anyway, so you always want to do those 3 herbs. It's super, super important. And we were talking about earlier how a lot of people will do a parasite cleanse, and some people will see stuff. Some people will message me and they're like, "Oh, I saw this in my stool, or I saw it in my children's stool." And then I'll have other customers who are like, "I didn't see anything." And the reality is, not all parasites you can see with the eye,
No.
right? Some are microscopic, and so just because you don't see them does not mean that you are not killing them. Does not mean that you are not detoxing. And sometimes, with even the larger parasites, they break apart before they even come out, right? They can come out in little pieces, or they fill with a gas when they die and they actually explode.
Oh, interesting.
Right? And that's why they release the ammonia, right? Because they die, they fill with the gas and they explode. And then that's when you can start getting symptomatic, which we'll get into. And so, yeah, if you're doing a cleanse and you don't see anything, don't think it's not working, because I can say for myself, I knew I needed a parasite cleanse. It literally healed me in so many ways. I know I had parasites. I mean, we all essentially have parasites, but I knew I had, a bad balance going on where they were, overtaking. And I never saw one. I've never seen one. Thank God. Thank the good Lord. But I have seen them in my son's stool. So, and you had a parasite in Colombia, right? Because I remember
I did. Fortunately, I didn't see any coming out either. I think it was something I couldn't see, but I did get one there. And I got the type that I think most people, when they think of parasites, they think of this type. I got the type that hits you hard, hits you fast, really takes you down. That's the type I got. That's not obviously the only type. I think most are not like that, but I got that type. I was horrible. I couldn't keep anything down. I had a fever. My skin started turning yellow, which is a sign that it was affecting even my liver. Literally, I was either in the bathroom, both ends, things were coming out of both ends, or I was laid out. I think I lost 2 days where I don't remember what happened.
I was messaging you. I didn't hear from you. I was like, yo, what happened to April? Like, is she okay?
Yeah, I was in another planet. I was in another world.
You were hallucinating. I remember you told me you were hallucinating.
I was like, I had a high fever. So I was like having fever hallucinations in a dream world. I was completely out of it. I was so bad. That lasted, I think 3 days roughly till I came out of it.
Because you have a strong immune system though, so you responded very fast and very quickly to it. Your body was like, get it out. And you were just like,
Yeah, my body was definitely trying to get it out as soon as it noticed it. The thing is too, I was in a different country. So like you were saying, we're exposed to parasites all the time. And there are parasites in different countries that everybody has, and they don't affect them to that degree. So they're just living with them. Yeah. But if you're not from that environment and you go there and you get that parasite, it can be worse for you. So the people I was traveling with, everybody was fine except for me, but I was the only one new to that country. So I think it hit me so hard. I, again, was in a different country. I had no access to herbal medicine or anything like that at that time. So I got medication from the pharmacy. They gave me a standard protocol, which is Pepto-Bismol.
Oh gosh.
Essentially, which they say it coats your stomach so that the parasite can't enter into get in, because they try and enter into your gut. So it does that. And then I took Cipro, which is a common antibiotic to kill parasites. And it stopped the worst of the symptoms, but it didn't totally take it away. My stomach was off for weeks.
I remember, yeah.
Yeah, I was off for weeks. I was still having random flare-ups where my whole gut would just empty. It wasn't until I took the wormwood that I was fully cured. And so there's different types of wormwood. I did the tincture and I did the capsules because they say the tincture has more antitoxin parasite to kill them. Yeah. Whereas the wormwood capsules is like microscopic glass, like little shards of glass that cut up the parasite. And it wasn't until I did a couple cycles of that, and I did a little oregano oil. I know you're not the hugest fan of that, but I added that on too. And then I finally felt true improvement. I was like, oh my gosh, I've been struggling for weeks. Maybe it was even into months where my gut wasn't quite right. And finally, the wormwood was like a miracle cure. I was like, oh my gosh, right away I felt better.
Yeah.
Like instantly.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah. Wormwood is disgustingly amazing. I mean,
the first shot I had of the wormwood.
But you were taking a lot. Like I think you had mine. I was giving to you like straight.
I was doing a big dose.
Yeah, you were doing a big dose.
Because I really needed it after that experience. Yeah. But it was, oh my God.
I know.
But on the bright side, after taking wormwood, you can give me any tincture.
I know, anything. I can take anything.
Literally anything is not going to phase me.
Everything tastes good now. I'm like, this is delicious. Like people are like gagging. I'm like, this is beautiful. Right? Like after you take wormwood, you can take anything. But I will say with my tinctures, with the blend, the wormwood isn't like you're not gonna be throwing up like we are. Like we were over here taking medicinal doses
and not diluting it. Now I dilute it in some water, Absolutely. Which is a game changer too.
Absolutely. I remember, when you reached out to me and you're like, I almost died.
Oh, it was.
And I'm like, Sandy, you need to go to the store and get her this. You're like, they have nothing here.
Oh, yeah. And at that time, like, I had no clue how to get, I mean, to this day, I still don't know if I could get something like that there.
Yeah.
They use, different countries use different things, right? It depends what grows there, how they're doing it. But, yeah.
Not fun.
No.
Not fun. That's why, like, when you go to places even like Cuba, it's like people are getting sick all the time. It's
That's super common. That's why they tell you not to drink the water in Mexico or Cuba or anywhere tropical, and the locals can because they've been exposed to those parasites. And I think when I was looking up the stats for Colombia, 80% of Colombians are living with parasites completely.
I mean,
and they're not
everyone has a parasite. Everyone is living with parasites. It's just is your body strong enough to cycle them out?
Yes. So 80% living with parasites and not having noticeable effects. There could still be long-term small effects that they don't know.
Yeah.
Long-term, maybe their kidneys are being weakened
100%,
or their heart's being weakened or they're a little more tired and groggy than they could be. It can be really minimal ways, but they were saying 80% without noticeable symptoms.
Yeah.
Which is a lot.
I know.
It's a lot. And they say also that...
But imagine here versus there. Because I'm sorry, there they have a lot better food, a lot fresher food.
Oh, very
more
fresh
sun
food.
Versus here...
Well, here's a totally different ball game because...
So look at all the disease here.
When you were talking about the cornerstones, the food, the clean water, the sun, the clean air, the 4 pillars, we'll call them, of health.
Yeah.
Here we've lost a lot when it comes to food. In other countries, they eat food that's very in season and it's fresh. And a lot of those foods are natural parasite killers.
100%.
For example, in Colombia, papaya. They eat papaya and papaya seeds.
Yeah.
Those are natural parasite cleansers. Yeah. So it's helping them flush it out.
Yeah.
In Iran, pomegranates are natural parasite killers. Here we've lost a lot of that.
Completely.
And our food is not in season.
Nope.
It's not grown here. It's been sitting on a truck for 3 days or more, then 3 days in the store ripening. It's not the same quality.
I know.
It's really different. So,
and we have it here because even Greenback Walnut Hall, every September, October, they're everywhere, falling from the trees, and we're just annoyed by them. Oh, these stupid green things.
We don't know what they are. For
the longest time, I didn't know, right?
Until you started talking about green black walnut, and then I looked it up, and I said, "Oh my gosh, we've had this. We have them
everywhere."
But we've lost that knowledge that we need it.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the Indigenous Canadians had this knowledge.
Yeah, they did.
But, it didn't get passed along to us because of the way, our society is.
Yeah.
So we've lost so much knowledge. And it's great now that people like you are slowly bringing it back so that everyone can learn, hey, these are the things we need. This is what's going to keep us healthy.
Yeah.
These few things.
Right? I know. God gives us everything we need. Literally everything we need. Even even looking around us, it's like all the dandelions everywhere.
Yes.
To help flush our liver and our kidneys.
Right,
and
when
we're
you
just
need it.
spraying them and like, oh, we want cancer
They
instead.
pop up right after winter when you need that cleanse.
I know.
One of the first flowers.
The animals are having them, right?
Absolutely,
we're out there spraying them, picking them. Like, my goodness gracious, yeah. It's we really need a history lesson.
Yeah,
we can learn a lot from the
to
natives.
The basics.
Absolutely.
The natives have been doing things for thousands of years, and same with Chinese medicine.
Yeah. Oh yeah, well. Absolutely.
Even what you were saying before about your grandma not reacting well with the dampness, that's pure Chinese medicine.
Yeah.
Chinese medicine, they talk a lot about dampness and your body like that. And sometimes people discredit it in the Western culture because we haven't studied it. There's not a lot of research, but now they're beginning to do some research.
They're not even thinking about it. They're just, let's trust your blood work and everything looks fine. You're fine.
They don't
give you drugs.
They don't go deeper, but sometimes things are happening before it shows up clinically.
Yeah.
So, and the Chinese know that too, and they have thousands and thousands of years of knowledge.
Yep.
But there is some new research coming out that's focusing on that and proving a lot of what they're saying, which is great.
Right. 100%. And I also wanted to talk about homeopathy, right? That's been around for thousands of years. Specifically, the two remedies, sulfur and senna. Sulfur is a great homeopathic remedy.
I love sulfur.
Yeah, for a specific type of parasite, but usually parasites that cause skin-related issues. And that was one of the main homeopathic remedies that I gave my son that cleared him up. And obviously there is a way of doing it. I think that you want to work with someone who knows what they're talking about, because you need to work your way up from, lower remedies to higher remedies, and, space them out a certain way. And if you can find a constitutional remedy that goes with it. But with my son, sulfur completely cured him. It was just absolutely amazing to see. On my e-course too, I do talk about eczema and parasites, and I do put all the different protocols you can follow on how to heal eczema, using tons of different remedies, step-by-step instructions, but also senna. Now, my daughter needed senna, and a lot of the times, when yourself or your children need that remedy when they're constantly picking their nose. They might seem totally fine, but they're constantly got their finger up their nose, or they're itching their ear, feel a little itch in their ear. Usually, it's like some sort of parasite within the nose and with the ears. Could even be like pinworm. It's very gross. And so whenever I see my daughter like sticking her hand up, I'm like, senna, gone. She stops doing it. And I learned that because when we were in Costa Rica, she had a parasite and she was totally fine. But every single night when I would put her down to sleep, she would not stop coughing. And it was like this gagging cough. I was like, what is going on? Totally fine from the day. Totally fine sitting up. As soon as she go to sleep, nonstop coughing. And so when we got home, I gave her a dose of senna. Gone. I was like, wow.
That's amazing.
Right? And then the nose thing. And one good protocol to follow is with pinworms too. You can use the same parasite cleanse with the 3 herbs for pinworms. I recommend that. I have that tincture on my website. But when it comes to homeopathy, first sign of itchy bum, take a 200 C of sulfur. Wait a couple of days. If the bum is still itchy, then you can take senna 30 every day until it goes away. And that usually works beautiful for pinworms. And you always want to nip that in the butt. Pun intended, as soon as possible, because they can just replicate really, really fast. And I have seen some very disturbing cases with pinworms just falling out of the children's underwears, like terrifying. No, thank you.
Gives me goosebumps.
I know, right? But luckily we have solutions. So do not be afraid. We have solutions. Now, with rife frequency, I kind of wanted to throw that in there just to kind of give you another solution. Is a lot of people, I found for myself when I was pregnant and I couldn't do certain types of parasite cleansing. I used homeopathy, of course, but I used a rife frequency machine or a frequency machine. And what it does is very similar to homeopathy in regards to frequency. And you attach it to your feet. So there's like a pulse and it goes on one foot, and I'll just sleep with it on. And then you can type in all these different codes. It's really amazing. And how it was made was Dr. Rife. He would take parasites and he would test the frequency of those parasites that the people had. And then he would shoot that same frequency back at the person and it would kill the parasite. Like cures like. So that's what homeopathy is. Like cures like. Same with frequency therapy. Like cures like. So if you are pregnant or you're someone who is sensitive, obviously these machines aren't cheap and, it's not the easiest to get. But that is a solution. It's a really cool solution. And you literally, there's like in my book that I have, there's thousands of different frequencies for different things. Like cold and flu, cancer, types of cancers, certain parasites. And so if you can figure out exactly what's going on with you and then you can put in that frequency, it's remarkable. It's really, really, really cool. But obviously that's not talked about in this day and age. And, when Dr. Rife brought that to the stage, he was shut down pretty quick. But Dr. Clark also makes a frequency machine that's really? That's really great too. And that's how I found her, really, is because we have the frequency machine from Dr. Clark. And then I was like, and I went down the rabbit hole and here I am. And so what we were talking about earlier when it comes to ammonia, so when you kill parasites, so when you're doing a parasite cleanse and you're killing them, they release something called ammonia and then you can become symptomatic. So sometimes I'll get customers who will do parasite cleanse and they start freaking out. They're like, oh, I'm getting more eczema or, I'm getting headaches or I'm feeling really tired or nauseous or whatever it may be. This doesn't happen often with my customers. I've probably only had 3 who have ever reported back to me. And I always say, okay, if that's happening, you want to focus on the liver and the kidney and make sure that your body is able to detox, smoothly and just reduce your dose. Reduce your dose to what you're comfortable with. Because I can tell you when I do parasite cleanses, usually like the first time I do them in a while, I'll get a really bad headache. And I know, all right, it's working, so yeah, reduce your dose and focus on the liver and kidneys. And that's also why I always suggest doing a heavy metal detox with parasites. It's specifically my heavy metal detox because I use parsley and cilantro, which is also really good for the liver and kidneys. So not only does it open up the detox pathways and allows the parasite cleanse to just go a bit smoother because, you're able to detox a bit better, but it also gets rid of the heavy metals, which parasites are attracted to heavy metals. They love them. And so you always want to do both if you can. And then binders. Binders are important too, especially if you're doing a tincture form of a parasite cleanse. Now, the binders that I usually use is activated charcoal, which I'm going to be selling soon. I've just been so busy and haven't made labels for them because mom life, but I will be selling activated charcoal. The one that I make is derived from coconut shells. And so you can also use diatomaceous earth. I like the activated charcoal. It's a little messy. They're both kind of messy, to be honest, but it is what it is. And then spirulina actually works as a very mild binder. Like I will use that for my children, but the activated charcoal is going to be your best bet. And you want to use that because when we kill parasites in the body, sometimes pieces of them can remain. And if they do, they can grow back. Right? If you leave a head of a tapeworm, it can grow back. Certain parasites can grow back. And if they don't, then you don't want them to also cause havoc in your body and release toxins and all those things. So that just helps pull out the dead bodies, into the toilet, make everything a little bit smoother. I don't use it religiously. I find that when I parasite cleanse, I'll take it every other day. Usually for activated charcoal, they'll tell you to take like 1 to 2 teaspoons. I find 2 teaspoons make me constipated. I find it's too much for me. I do 1 teaspoon every other day and very far away from the parasite cleanse because when you're using a binder, it can pull on everything else that is in your stomach. So if you do a binder in the parasite cleanse, it's just going to absorb the parasite cleanse and it's not going to be effective. Or if you're taking any other supplements, it's going to take that. So you always want to do it like, a couple hours away from anything important that you're taking so it doesn't grab onto that. And it's really helpful.
Yeah, I mean, activated charcoal is a great binder. That's why they use it for poisonings or if you have too much, you eat something you shouldn't have, your kid drinks some kind of chemical that was under the sink, you can use activated charcoal to deactivate it. So it makes sense that you don't want to put it too close to important medications because it's going to absorb everything.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, as we said, parasite cleansing really is the key to good health. That's one thing I've really learned. The deeper I go in this topic, I'm like, whoa, like a lot of diseases that people are dealing with, we smack a name on it, because two people could be dealing with the same thing and express very differently. And so, oh, you're dealing with something in your arm and you're dealing with something with your leg. So it's different. And so we're going to name it this and we're going to name it that. But sometimes, it could be the same root, which could be parasites from what I've learned. Dr. Clark, if you look up her studies, she goes through all the different diseases and what disease is affected by each parasite, from lupus to Lyme's to certain cancers to, it's crazy deep stuff. I'm like, what? It's a lot to chew on, but it's very eye-opening, and it just makes you realize how a lot of the health issues that we deal with in this day and age, it starts with usually an imbalance in the body, right? You're not living a healthy lifestyle. Now there's an imbalance in the body. Now your body's not strong enough to cycle out the parasites. They take over, and then they go to the weakest place in your body, right? And so whether that be your reproductive system, whether that be the heart, whether that be, your kidney, your liver, they're going to go to the weakest place, and that's where they're going to try and make a home and lay eggs. And they can lay up to like 50,000 eggs a day. Like, they replicate fast, and it's really, really gross. And so when you have a weakness, and it's taking over your life, it's really affecting your life negatively, it's really good to consider parasite cleansing while you focus on healing whatever that is, because they usually do go hand in hand. And like I said, this isn't coming from, just my own thought process. This is like the work of Dr. Clark, the work of a lot of doctors. And yeah, it really opens your eyes. So I parasite cleanse 3 to 4 times a year. I think that you should do it at least 3 times a year. I do it more than that. Even when I'm honestly sick, which I will say, I rarely get sick now, ever since parasite cleansing and making sure I'm doing like cleanses every so often. Me and my family like never get sick anymore. It's amazing.
Well, you can think about it this way too, that even if you're completely healthy and you're not suffering with any imbalance or any weakness, you're completely healthy, but you get a parasite, it's a low grade one, no specific symptoms, but your body's constantly trying to fight it off. So your body and your defenses start getting very fatigued. Then when an illness comes around, your body's tired. It doesn't have that energy to fight that sickness.
Yes.
And therefore you get a cold, a cough, a flu, whatever it may be. Or even long term, if you look at some chronic diseases or could be even cancers, your body's busy trying to deal with this parasite. A lot of cultures, as I was saying before, their food naturally cleanses. And some cultures actually require a parasite cleanse. It's part of their medical system. Yeah. It's not part of ours, but it's part of their medical system saying, hey, twice a year, take this regime to clear yourself out, because it does really affect the whole body, the whole health.
100%. There are a lot of different herbs and spices out there that will help maintain parasites, but I do think that you need to do like a very intentional cleanse a couple times a year. Yes, pumpkin seeds are going to help with parasites. They don't kill parasites. What happens is there's a specific chemical within pumpkin seeds that make them sleepy, and then they flush themselves out. Same with papaya seeds, doesn't kill parasites. They latch onto them and then you poop them out. But if you're like doing a serious parasite cleanse, that's not the root. Like you're not gonna fight them with that. Even, peppermint can kill parasites and oregano can kill parasites and all these different, herbs can kill them. But with green black walnut hull, wormwood, and clove, it kills over 100+ different species. And that's why I really like that trio, because it's hard to find that with anything else that covers such a
Yes, because
wide
those are
range.
the toxic things, like very toxic things to parasites. And then the food is to keep you maintained in between the time when you're not cleansing.
100%, 100%. Now I wanted to talk about something that's a little controversial. And I think a lot of people know this and a lot of people don't, but Schmovid was, got to use code words here, was essentially a parasite. A lot of doctors are confirming this. And that is why, the I word worked so well. What can I use? Ivor? Let's just say Ivor. That's why Ivor worked so well, because it was a parasite, right? And a lot of people, when they got Schmovid, they were experiencing something called long Schmovid, where they were just like, they would have this cough for months on end. I was seeing this a lot, and I belonged to this forum, this homeopathic forum at the time. I was a part of this class, and there were so many people on there, whether they were pricked or not, and they were experiencing this long Schmovid, and it just lingered and lingered. But then when they would parasite cleanse, they were able to overcome it. And
interesting.
yeah. And so that was really fascinating to me. And so I think that if anyone is experiencing this long Schmovid or still experiencing that, you might want to look into doing a parasite cleanse, as well as like a liver cleanse. And I'll get into that. But I think we have to remember that these things take time. Sometimes we're like, 4 weeks and we're done. And that's as long as it should take. When in reality, you might have to do it, like for me, like I parasite cleansed on and off for a year before I was healed. And so it takes time, right? Healing takes time. I always say it's like, if you gained a lot of weight and you were an obese person, you're not going to do like a crash diet and lose all that weight in 4 weeks. It's going to take you like a year of dedication, especially if you want to do it properly, maybe even longer to lose that. And so healing can be the same when it's really deep. You need to take that time. You need to be patient, and you need to be consistent.
I think it's especially important too with natural medicine to remember that it is natural.
Yeah.
It's going to be healthier for you in the long run, but it does take time. I think our society is so used to just taking one pill and curing a symptom and thinking all is well.
Well, it's not curing, it's suppressing.
Well, suppressing that, exactly.
Yeah.
You're not curing the root cause, but you're getting that symptom away for the time being. I think that people forget sometimes that you need to be patient, you need to give it time. This is going to cure you. It's not just a quick fix
100%,
sort of thing.
100%. And I get a lot of people reaching out and asking, how do I detox from the prick, right? And so I kind of wanted to throw that in there for you guys, because it really is related to parasite cleansing as well as people asking, how do I detox from the spike? And so I would say, from the prick, like parasite cleanse, just like I said, on and off for as long as it takes. Heavy metal detox, like those two need to go hand in hand if you want to detox from that, as well as focusing on the liver, which the heavy metal detox will, but you can add in like, a liver cleanse or whatever else you want to. A lot of it is parasitic. It's really scary stuff. But there are solutions. So with the spike, I would suggest the dandelion tincture and eastern white pine tincture daily, every day. If you want to take weekends off, sure, but every day do that. That has, like, I have seen blood tests of people getting their blood checked before and then after, and then doing that regimen for 3 months, blood completely cleared.
Interesting.
Really, really amazing. And then for the heart, because I think that's a big one right now where people are struggling with a lot of heart issues since that time frame. And cayenne pepper is your friend. Cayenne pepper is amazing for the heart. It's amazing for clearing the arteries. It's good for, blood flow. It can stop a heart attack in its tracks if you have it on hand. It's really amazing. It prevents heart attacks. It boosts your immune system. It is good for so many things. I take cayenne pepper every day. I just love the taste of it. I'll have like lemon water and put like, 2 dropperfuls of cayenne in there and drink that daily. I'm like a colder person too, so it keeps me warm. But I absolutely love it. So if you're someone who's dealing with that, cayenne pepper's your friend, whether you want to take it in tincture form because it's easier, or you can just take like half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper, put it in a tall glass of water and drink that, but because it's powder, you have to like stir it really fast and then like,
yes,
and chug it. And you can do that like 2 times a day, 3 times a day. Cayenne pepper can even cure ulcers, stomach issues, any digestive issues.
Yeah, it's really good for your kidneys because when you have cayenne pepper, you lose some people crave salt. You lose some of that craving for salt, which salt is good for you. We need it. But, in this day and age with so much processed foods, we get way too much. It's bad for your kidneys. So it actually prevents you from those salt cravings, thereby helping your kidneys. And they say it's good for weight loss too.
It is good for weight loss.
Appetite and weight loss.
It can stop bleeds as well. I found I used to have digestive issues, right? That was another thing that I dealt with. And cayenne pepper was definitely one of the main herbs that brought a lot of healing to me. And I started with powder form, then made tincture. But I took it 3 times a day, every day for months. And it radically changed my gut. Even if I know I'm gonna like eat something that I like maybe shouldn't, like we're going out for like a little treat, I'm gonna get ice cream or something, I'll just take some cayenne and lemon juice after and I'm good to go. Not bothered at all. You could take peppermint too, but I find cayenne works better. Cloves too, right? Because it helps to increase your stomach acid. So cloves are really good for that too, and I really love cloves.
You do really love cloves.
I know.
I'm trying to love them, but I'm not there yet.
I know. Yesterday, me and Mitchell took like a clove shot. I'll get like a teaspoon, grind it up, and take it in water. And he's gagging, and I'm like, it's so good. Like, why don't you like this? I love it. I don't know. It's a weird thing. Probably because I need it, right? You love what you need.
True.
Other than that, I wanted to bring up the fact that, again, with parasites, how I'm sure you're seeing it too. A lot of these doctors who are cutting open these tumors, they're cutting them open. They're seeing tons of parasites within these tumors. And it goes back to how parasites are attracted to the weakest part of the body, right? And so there's a lot of information out there on the internet where provided by doctors that are saying if you have, including Dr. Clark, if you have, a tumor, parasite cleanse, because it's very likely that those things go hand in hand. And then lastly, I wanted to discuss the fact that parasites can be passed down in the womb. A lot of people don't realize that. They will have a child and again, they're like born with eczema or they're born with, some sort of weakness. And I think it's really important that before you have a child, both you and the person that you're having a child with do a good parasite cleanse before, because you are going to give your child a way better head start.
Definitely, because it makes sense too. We give to our children, we share so many things. Everything, essentially.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. And some, correct me if I'm wrong, but some of the parasite protocols when you're pregnant aren't appropriate for you to take.
Yeah.
So if you start off really clean and you eat some of those foods that can safely, kind of like you said, keep the parasites at bay, it's a lot better for your baby. You'll be a lot more protected.
100%. Yeah. You can't take really any of the 3 herbs that I said when you're pregnant. Maybe cloves and like food amounts that you would put in your food, but greenback walnut hull, no. Wormwood, no. The pregnant women who come to me and they're like, I really want to do like some sort of parasite cleanse. What can I do? I usually suggest lemon balm. I'm like, you should, like, lemon balm and peppermint are your friend. You can safely take those, and I do sell that in tincture form. But other than that, you don't want to be taking anything too aggressive like greenback walnut hull or wormwood, because it can cause a miscarriage, because it causes uterine contraction. So you do need to be very mindful. But you have homeopathy, right? If you want to work with a good homeopath, you have homeopathy, you have lemon balm, you have peppermint. Don't take peppermint if you're breastfeeding. It can reduce milk supply. And you even have frequency machines if you really want something. But usually it's just better to do it before, if you can plan it, and then when you're done, you can incorporate some herbs slowly back in based on, where you are in breastfeeding.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So if you are looking to purchase a good parasite cleanse, I do have a parasite cleanse for adults and children on my website, www.happyherbs.ca, happy with an I. And I will be selling activated charcoal soon. Just need some time to make those labels. And for pregnant women, I have the lemon balm as well as everything else that I've mentioned on here. So if you guys are looking for a safe and effective parasite cleanse, that's where you can go. Or you can make it yourself if you're feeling up to it. Whatever you have, right? Even just having it in in your food, whatever you can get access to that is going to be better than nothing.
Definitely.
Is there anything else you wanted to add before we close?
No, nothing. Thanks for having me.
I know. Well, we'll have you again. Thank you so much for being here with us at Around the Kitchen Table, and we will see you again next time. God bless.